Chapter 6. Mo had no memory of his mother. His eyes were barely open when she was taken away. The runt of the litter, he felt small and insignificant in comparison to his older brothers and sisters. Food at the puppy mill was scarce, and with all those hungry mouths to feed, more often than not, Mo went to bed without supper. He wasn't much to look at with his bow legs and bony chest. One day, Mo was out in the yard watching two of his brothers play tug-of-war with a ratty old dish towel when a shiny new white car rolled up to the driveway. A thin man with glasses and a large woman in a yellow dress got out of the car, carefully picking their way around the piles of melting slush until they were standing next to the chain-link fence. The large woman rested one hand on her belly and shielded her eyes from the sun with the other. Searching, after a moment, she pointed to Mo. "That's him," she said. "That's the one." The next thing he knew, Mo was sitting in the back seat of the white car. The thin man with glasses kept glancing in the rearview mirror at Mo, and the large woman was singing, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine," in a high, clear voice as they sped down the road toward a new chapter in Mo's life. When they arrived at the big house, Mo could hardly believe his good fortune. For the first time in his life, he had more than enough to eat, a soft bed to sleep in, toys to play with, and every day from dawn till dusk, the house was filled with beautiful music. The thin man with glasses was nice in a quiet way, but the large woman quickly became Mo's favorite. She smelled like lilies of the valley and delighted in spoiling Mo with treats, fussing over him like a mother hen. Mo finally knew what it felt like to be loved. He filled out and grew strong, and thanks to the large woman's patience and gentle reminders, learned to mind his manners and do as he was told. One day, the large woman surprised Mo with a gift, a heart-shaped silver pendant with his name engraved on it. "You're a good boy," she said, as she fastened the chain around his neck. Mo was so excited he raced around the room, wagging his stubbly little tail until it was nothing but a blur. He loved the way the pendant jingle-jangled when he moved, and the way it made him feel like he belonged. What would his brothers and sisters think of him now? How envious they would be of his wonderful life. Mo loved his new life and hoped it would never change. But one morning in mid-March, he awoke to a strange sound coming from upstairs. High-pitched and urgent, it hurt Mo's ears, and it set his teeth on edge. No one came downstairs to give him breakfast, and soon the house began to fill with strangers. The hurried clicking of their heels on the steps frightened Mo. He took refuge in the back room, curling up on the blue velvet couch to wait for everyone to leave. There was no music that day. Dinner time came and went, and when the last of the strangers had finally left, Mo crept upstairs to the bedroom. The large woman was asleep, her hair spread out on the white pillow behind her like a halo. Beside her on the bed lay a small bundle wrapped in gray cloth. An unfamiliar odor lingered in the air, something damp and fresh like new-cut grass. In the corner of the room near a window stood the thin man, his head bowed, his shoulders slumped. Behind the lenses of his glasses, his eyes were like two bottomless black holes. When he saw Mo, his face crumpled and he began to cry. "Go away," he told Mo. "Please, just go away." The next morning, the thin man with glasses came downstairs to give Mo his breakfast, something he had never done before. The man didn't warm up Mo's food the way the large woman always did. He dumped the can straight into the dish, and he forgot to fill the water bowl and give Mo his vitamin. A few hours later, the man went out, carrying the gray bundle in his arms. As soon as he was gone, Mo went looking for the large woman. He searched the house from top to bottom, but she was nowhere to be found. That afternoon, more strangers came to the house, all of them dressed in black. Among them was a tall woman with a kind face and a soft voice. She smelled like sugar cookies, and there was something about her manner that immediately put Mo to ease. She was the last of the strangers to leave that day, and before she did, she knelt down beside Mo and spoke to him gently. "Don't worry, Mo," she told him. "Everything's going to be okay. You're going to come live with me for a little while. Won't that be nice?" The tall woman took Mo home with her. That night she fed him leftover chicken and dumplings and lit a fire in the pot-belly stove to help take the chill out of the air. Mo curled up on the couch in front of the stove, but he didn't sleep. He was grateful for the tall woman's kindness and the delicious chicken and dumplings, but he couldn't stop thinking about the big house and the wonderful life he had left behind. Where had the large woman gone? Didn't she love him anymore? Right before Mo had left, the thin man with glasses had bent down and patted him on the head. "Just for a little while," he'd said, as he undid the clasp and slipped the silver chain from around Mo's neck. Now Mo missed the jingle-jangle sound and the way it made him feel like he belonged. Exhausted, he finally closed his eyes. As the fire crackled in the potbelly stove and the moon hung like a shiny gold pocket watch in the sky, he had the dream for the first time. The image of a girl danced behind his eyelids. Sunlight caught in her long yellow hair, and when she threw back her head and laughed, Mo's breath quickened and his heart began to race. The girl stopped laughing and looked at him with wide eyes. "It's you," she whispered. Then she ran to him, threw her arms around his neck, and Mo followed her home. This was where he belonged, where he was meant to be, with her, if only he knew who she was.